Right. I always treat me as a pupil at the partly trained stage.
Mm-hmm.
I've had lessons with another instructor who can't make it today. He has got the same car as you, so I am familiar with the controls. He said today he was going to show me how to deal with all types of pedestrian crossings.
Yep.
And he was going to have a look at my use of signals.
Okay.
So what level am I?
Partly trained, pedestrian crossings, use of signals.
Yeah, and for this phase you can call me Tony.
Okay.
Yeah?
Hi Tony, I'm Lewis.
Hi Lewis.
Nice to meet you. So Fred can't be here today. I spoke to him last night and he said he was going to go through pedestrian crossings with you and have a look at your use of signals as well.
Yep.
Okay. So, have you done your theory yet?
No, I'm studying.
Okay. So, what are the two different types of pedestrian crossings? Do you know about those?
No, I think it's controlled and uncontrolled.
Okay, good. Okay, so we'll start off first of all with uncontrolled crossings.
All right.
Okay. Do you know any of the ways that you can identify them? No? Okay. So we've got the first sign really is these great big beacons on top of big black and white poles.
Yeah.
Okay, they're the things that you can see the furthest away. They'll be flashing at you. They're telling you that you're coming up to a crossing. Okay. We've also got the black and white lines across the front. Like it's called a zebra crossing because of the black and white lines. And we've also got zigzag lines. So all of those are telling you that you're coming up to a pedestrian crossing. So the first thing we can do on approach to a pedestrian crossing is we're going to check the centre mirror. And we're looking out for how close vehicles are behind us and what speed they're travelling at. If there's a vehicle very close or coming up very quickly, we're going to brake earlier and more gradually. Okay. As soon as we've checked that mirror, we're going to start scanning up and down both pavements. We're looking for any pedestrians either at the crossings or coming towards the crossings.
Yeah.
It's very important that we don't speed up towards there if there's nobody there, because somebody could come out at the last second from a nearby house, or from around a parked car, around a hedge or an obstruction. Once we've done that, we're going to keep our speed the same, but still looking and being prepared to stop if somebody does come out at the last second. Have you read about these zigzag lines and what you're not allowed to do?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay. So there's a few rules with the zigzag lines. We're not allowed to overtake in the zigzag lines because we may. People won't be able to see properly, and we don't know what's going on a crossing. We don't want to injure anyone, so we can't overtake on the pedestrian crossings. We can't park on the zigzag lines. Sorry, we can't park on the zigzag lines either, for the same reason that we can't see. We're blocking the pedestrian's view and other road users' view.
Yep.
We've got the same zigzag lines on the opposite side as well, because again we're going to be interfering with people's view. We mustn't stop on the crossing. We mustn't block the crossing. It's very important that pedestrians, like here, it's very important that the pedestrians are able to get across safely. So the main thing with this is trying to identify whether somebody's going to cross or not. If they're coming towards you, best thing to do is try and make eye contact with them and try and judge what they're going to do, being prepared to stop if they do step out.
Yep.
If they've got their back to you, you need to be extra careful. Okay. Now some zebra crossings are all in one, go like this, and some are separate, some are in two parts. If they're separated by an island in the middle, we take our part as a thing on its own. So once the people are safely over our part and they're only on the other bit, it's safe for us to carry on. If it's one long one, we must wait here until they're safely off the crossing completely. Okay? And people don't always cross at crossings, so we need to be aware that they may try and cross on other bits of road as well. We treat it in the same way. Once they've stepped out into the road, we need to give priority to them. Okay? It's also very important that we never wave anybody across when we're not in general. We must never wave anyone across, because if we do that, we're taking some responsibility for them taking that action and walking out. Another road user might not see them, and it could cause an accident.
All right.
Okay. Okay. And then the second type of crossing is a controlled crossing. So these are controlled by traffic lights. And there's a few different types of these, but they all basically work in the same way. So we treat it in the same way. On approach, we're going to check the centre mirror, looking for what's behind us and the speed and distance the car's following. We're going to be prepared to slow down and start scanning up and down both of these. The difference with these is they have a little yellow box. Now if somebody's pressed the button on the little yellow box, that's a sign that these might change. We know if somebody's pressed them because you can see the opposite one. It'll either have a little red circle when it's been pressed, or the word wait will light up at the top. If either of those things have happened, then there's a good chance that these might change. so we can plan ahead for that. We can start slowing down. If we can clearly see that the one on the opposite side hasn't been pressed, then we should be okay to keep going, but we still need to watch out because people may try and cross in front of us. Okay. You may see, depending on what we come across, you may see a flashing amber light. That's on one particular type of crossing. If we have a flashing amber light, that's telling us that it is safe for us to go as long as there's nobody on the crossing. Okay, so we don't have to wait for a green light unless there's somebody still on there. With a controlled crossing, we treat it all as one, unless it's a staggered island like this where it's been moved up on a separate. But again, the lights are going to dictate when we're able to go and when we're not. Okay, there's a few different types. We don't need to worry too much about the detail of it just at the moment. Okay, and then finally, use of signals. So from the driving that you've been doing so far, do you know how we would signal to turn right?
Yeah, I moved the switch up and down.
Yep, so which way to go right?
Up, I think.
Yeah, so it's the way, if your left hand was on the wheel and you were turning the wheel to the right, you would catch it with your left hand. If your left hand were to be pointing out, it would move it upwards.
Yeah.
And your left hand would move down for a left turn.
Oh, yeah.
So that's an easy way of remembering it. If we were signalling to turn right into this road, we're back here at the moment. At what point would we put that signal on, do you think?
Probably about here.
Good. And why wouldn't you put it on earlier?
They might think I'm turning in there.
Very good, yeah. We don't want to confuse people, so it's important we don't put it on too early or too late. The distance will change with the speed that we're doing, but as long as there's not a road before, we'll have a go at judging those as well.
You said we're going to have a look at these today as well.
Oh, arm signals as well?
Yeah.
We'll have a little look at that in a second. If we're passing a parked car, have you passed any parked cars in your driving so far? Have you dealt with any of those?
I think I have, yeah.
Yeah? Do you remember whether Fred got you to signal or not?
Sometimes.
Okay. Usually we don't want to signal to go around a parked car. What might people think if we put a right signal on here to go around this parked car?
I think I'm turning in there.
Yeah, and that's important we don't confuse people.
No.
So how would people know that we're going around a parked car and not turning?
Imagine they'd see my position, wouldn't they?
Yeah, very good. So if you have a look at this blue line here, if we were following that, the angle of the car would be coming out.
Yeah.
So it makes it clear where we're going.
Yeah.
All right. So arm signals. We've got a few of these. We'll give these a go now.
Yeah.
These are to reinforce the mechanical signal, so these are an extra, just to make it extra clear for people behind. So if you wind your window all the way down for me, right down to the bottom. That's it. So any time that we're doing these, we're always going to put the window all the way down, and we're going to check that mirror first of all. Okay, I know you haven't set yourself up just yet. What kind of a view have you got out of that mirror at the moment?
Oh, I can see, yeah.
Good, okay. So what we're going to do is check that mirror because I don't want you to lose your arm. It cost me a lot of money to replace that. So checking the mirror.
Yeah.
And then we're going to put your arm out. And we're going to put it all the way out. And we're going to do, first of all, we're going to do a signal for turning right. And to do that, you're going to put your arm out with your palm facing forwards.
Yeah.
That's it, just like that for about 3 seconds and back in. It's important, so bring your arm back in for me. Okay, so if we were doing this on the move, your left hand would be on the wheel. Left hand on the steering wheel for me, Tony. That's it. So driving along normally, taking your right hand off after we've signalled to put your right hand out the window to show people that we're going right. Okay, back in after 3 seconds. So palm forward for the right turn. If we want to show people that we're going left, we're going to again put your left hand on the steering wheel for me.
Up there.
So you can hold it in your normal driving position. It's fine.
Yeah.
Your right hand's going to stick out the wheel, out the window, and we're going to do it again with your palm facing forwards. And we're going to do this motion. It's going to be the same direction as the wheel. Same direction as the wheel would be turning if we were going forwards. So look at the mirror first, make sure it's safe. Good. Arm straight out the window.
Yeah.
Nice and straight. Palm facing forwards, turning.
Oh, sorry.
That's it. Very good for about 3 seconds and then back in on the wheel.
Yeah.
Okay. And the final one then is this one. This is for slowing down. Cyclists use the same signal. So left hand on the steering wheel again. Quick check in the mirror, make sure it's safe.
Yeah.
Hand straight out, and this time we're going to put your palm facing downwards.
All right.
And we're going to flap up and down from your shoulder for me, Tony. Right the way from your shoulder, that's it. All the way up and down. Back in on the wheel. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So should we go and give this a go?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you'd like to set yourself up, please, Tony.
Yeah, I should have done that first, really, shouldn't I? Yep.
Okay, can you just tell me what you can see in your rearview mirror, please?
I can square the whole back window, see a bit of my head restraint and a bit of yours. See a bit of my left ear as well.
Very good. And in your right door mirror?
I can see both the door handles. About 2 finger widths of the car. I see the top of them buildings, horizon and the road.
Very good. And the left?
Pretty much the same, apart from that bit in the middle.
Okay, all right. We'll drive on when you're ready then, please, Tony.
Right to the end.
Okay. So we're going to be going right at the end, please,
Yeah.
Tony.
I don't need to indicate here, do I?
So would it benefit anyone? Can anyone see you that's going to benefit
There's
from it?
nobody in there.
No. Is there anyone in the car opposite?
Oh yeah, I didn't see
Yeah, it
them.
might help them, mightn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to be going right at the end, please, Tony. So which way are we going? How are we going to put the indicator still?
Up.
Very good. So some of the ways we can spot out pedestrian crossings, Tony, particularly uncontrolled ones, are the flashing beacons on poles. So you get black and white poles with an orange and yellow flashing beacon on the top.
Right.
We're going to be going left, please, Tony. So which way are we going to push the indicator still?
Going down.
Very good. So should we indicate about here, please, Tony? Important that we indicate at the correct time, Tony.
To give people plenty of warning, isn't it?
That's right. So what's the danger of indicating too early?
I thought you couldn't indicate too early.
So we're not going to indicate here, Tony.
No?
No, we're going to treat it just like a parked car, like you did with Fred. So how are people going to know? And we're not going to indicate to come back in either, no. What might people think? What's the danger of indicating to move out from there, first of all?
Oh, I suppose the right door is turning.
Yeah, and what would
And
be
turning right.
Turning right, please, Tony. So when are we going to indicate?
I bet now.
Okay, good. Let's do it. Indicate right.
It's good timing, isn't it?
So it's a little bit late there, Tony. It might have helped those pedestrians particularly to know a little bit earlier. So I'll help you judge the distance on the next one and then see if that helps. What might people have thought if we'd indicated left when we came back in around that traffic calming?
I suppose they might have thought it might be pulling over.
Yeah, very good.
And turning left.
Turning left, please, Tony, at the end. So we're going to put the signal on around about now. So just,
Oh, now?
yeah, about now.
Oh, that distance.
So that's sort of a distance at this speed, yeah. It's not always going to be that distance, Tony. Sometimes we're going to be driving a bit faster and we need to give people longer to react, so it's going to be further back if we're going faster. So crossing ahead, sorry Tony, just focusing on signals. Check that centre mirror for me. Okay.
I like that.
Into first gear, Tony, prepare the car.
I've stopped that.
Yeah, you have stopped for that person, that's completely my fault, Tony, I'm sorry about that. Got distracted with signals, so
It's good to stop well short, isn't it?
it's important that we don't stop too far back, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very important we don't stop too far back, because people might think that you've broken down. They might try and go round you. And what was the rule with the zigzags? I haven't told you yet, have I? So on the zigzags we can't overtake, and we might be
I wasn't going to
encouraging.
overtake anybody.
No, but somebody behind might then feel they needed to with you. Looking ahead, can you see the two orange beacons ahead on
yeah,
black and white
yeah,
poles?
yeah.
That's telling us there's a crossing. So
Yeah.
can you check that centre mirror for me,
can,
Tony?
yeah,
Check
yeah.
that now for me.
Yeah.
Check the
Sorry,
mirror. Yeah. And now we're starting to scan up and down the pavements.
Yeah.
We don't want to do any sudden stopping. We're looking ahead. There's nobody near, so we can carry on.
Yeah, scanning up and down the roads.
Okay, so we just need to scan by the crossing, and we're also looking for anyone that's heading towards the crossing. Unless they're running, they're not going to get there too quickly. So we're passing parked car, Tony. Do we signal?
I wouldn't have needed to there. I would hear that, wouldn't I?
No, we're not going to signal here either, Tony. So remind me, what's the danger of signalling to pass parked car?
I think I'm turning into one of those driveways.
Yeah, very good. And what might people think as we pulled back in if we signal to come back in?
Ah, then I think I'm parking.
Very good. So we've got parked cars ahead, Tony.
That's not hard not to think I'm parking, is it?
Well, they might, if they expect you to slow down, they might try and overtake you, mightn't they?
Oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah. So we've got parked cars here. You didn't indicate. I didn't even get around to asking you, so that's good.
Is that a crossing?
So this is not a crossing, Tony. We're going to keep moving.
Huh?
That's just a place for people to stand in the middle and wait for a space. So I'm happy that you understand why we don't signal to pass parked cars, Tony. Can I leave that responsibility with you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Good. I'm also happy that you've been signalling in the right directions. So can I leave that with you as well?
Yeah, I've done no problem with that.
If you have a look at these lights here, Tony, it's not strictly a pedestrian crossing because there's no zigzag lines, but can you see the little yellow boxes with a little lit up red man light? Yeah. So you'll see those on controlled pedestrian crossings as well.
Pretty, isn't it?
Have you ever used one of those as a pedestrian?
No, just crossing between.
Okay.
And straight on.
Straight over, please, Tony. So no need to signal here, Tony, because it's a mini roundabout.
Oh, so you have to indicate what I had to come off a roundabout.
On a normal roundabout we would, but on a mini roundabout there's a little blue sign. I'll point out the next one to you. A little blue sign with white arrows on it. Tells us it's a mini roundabout. So how could people know? In fact, we'll deal with this pedestrian crossing first. So can you see the beacons ahead?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So first thing we do is check which mirror?
Yeah.
Which mirror?
Yeah, the middle one.
Check it, Tony.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Okay, and now looking up and down around the pedestrian crossing. Very good. So mini roundabout here because you've got the blue sign, Tony.
Yeah.
We're not going to signal.
Oh, no.
No. So how are people going to know where we're going if we don't signal to tell them when we're coming off?
They're going to have a good guess, aren't they?
So they're going to be able to tell by your position. Tony.
Oh, right.
Position of the car will help to tell people. What's the danger of signalling on a mini roundabout? Any idea?
So it's safe.
So if we try and signal on a mini roundabout, Tony, it could interfere with our steering because it all happens very quickly. And steering is more important. So looking ahead, can you see those beacons there, Tony?
Oh, yeah.
Very good. What's the first thing we check?
I'll check the mirror.
Okay, check it for me, Tony.
Yeah.
Check it, please, Tony.
Yeah.
Check the centre mirror, Tony.
All right. Yeah.
Check it, Tony. It's very important. And then scanning the pavements. Can you...
Can I what?
Do you know what the danger is of not checking that centre mirror, Tony?
I'll get whinged at by you.
Other than that, more serious than a bit of whinging? What would happen if you needed to stop and there was a car very close behind you,
I'll
Tony?
press the brake.
Okay, and if there's a car very close behind you, are we going to signal on this one?
No.
Very good. I'm happy you understand. But what's the reason we're not going to signal on this one, Tony?
Nobody's going to.
Okay. So if there's a car really close behind us, Tony, and we stop suddenly, what's going to happen?
Well, it's their priority. It's up to them to stop, isn't it?
They should be able to stop in the distance they can see, to be clear. That's true.
Turning right.
Turning right, Tony. And all the way around and back down.
Yeah, it's up to
People
them to
don't.
stop, isn't it?
Well, we mustn't cause any situation that would be dangerous, Tony. And for the test, we don't want to be making anyone slow, stop or swerve.
Oh, just for the test.
In general, we don't want to make anyone slow, stop or swerve. So, if there was someone close behind you, Tony, and you'd only know that by checking that centre mirror, we're going to slow down earlier and more slowly, so they've got time to react. Because the last thing you want is to go off, pass your test, buy a nice shiny new car, and have someone go straight into the back of you because you didn't check that mirror. Yeah?
Yeah, I don't want to get my new shiny car damaged, do I?
No. So can you see these yellow zigzag lines here outside the school?
Yeah.
They're very much like they're the same as the zigzags that we get at a pedestrian crossing, except the yellow instead of white. There's some rules with zigzag crossings. Straight over, please, Tony. So there's a few rules with the zigzags. You're not allowed to park in the zigzag zone. The reason for that is that you're going to be obstructing people's view, and it's going to make it unsafe. You're not allowed to overtake in the zigzags either. Don't worry about that. So, crossing ahead, what's the first thing we check?
Our mirrors.
That's much better, Tony. And then where do we look?
Scan.
Very good. So, can you just tell me how you identify a pedestrian crossing?
I saw the black and white posts, zigzag lines, and the beacons.
Very good. So, would you like to take responsibility for identifying those?
Yeah, I'll have a go. Yeah, yeah.
Very good. So you just tell me when.
Yeah,
you
I wasn't
see
quite
some...
sure where I was checking the mirror, but I think I know now.
Yeah. So you understand the reason that we check it?
Yeah, I do now. Yeah.
So just remind me, why do we check it?
Okay, somebody very close behind me.
And what would you do different if they were?
Brake earlier. I always do things a lot better when I know the reason why.
Yeah. So I'm happy you understand that, Tony. Would you like me to leave responsibility of checking the mirror as well?
Crossing.
Good.
Scanning.
Very good. Why do we scan, Tony?
See if any pedestrians are running out of their houses.
Very good. So can I leave responsibility of the scanning as well with you?
Yeah. Well, this is you get angry.
Very good.
And straight up.
Straight over, please, Tony. Now, looking ahead, we're coming up to some traffic lights, Tony. Can you tell me, do we have any zigzag lines in front of those traffic lights?
No.
Okay. So there's no zigzag lines. It's not a pedestrian crossing. So we just treat it as normal traffic lights.
Why has it got boxes then?
So that's to allow people to cross there, but it's not a crossing.
So I don't have to worry about anything.
So people may still cross there. We still have to be careful. But a proper pedestrian crossing would have zigzag lines in front of it. So going back to the little boxes there, Tony, can you see on the right there's one there with a lit up red man? Yeah. If somebody had pressed that, do you know what would be different? Have you ever seen them when they've been pressed?
The red man jumps up and down.
You get a little red circle underneath. Okay, a little circle of red lights around the button. If that light's lit up at the bottom, that circle, we know somebody's pressed it and they're waiting to cross. So what can we anticipate could happen, do you think, if somebody's pressed that button?
The lights might change.
Exactly, yeah, the lights are likely to change. So what would we do different? Or what would we plan to do? If we know the lights are likely to change before we get there.
Cover the brake maybe.
Yeah, very good. Be prepared to stop if we need to. Sometimes you see a box with the word wait instead of a little red circle.
Yeah.
Those are an older style crossing.
Oh, right.
They work in a similar way. So when someone presses it, the word wait will light up instead of the little red button. And that tells you that somebody's pressed it. So again, you can anticipate the lights might change.
Right.
Turning right, please, Tony. When are we going to signal?
Yeah.
Okay, so we could have signalled a little bit earlier there, Tony. Who would have benefited from you signalling earlier, do you think?
That woman and that child.
Yeah, if they'd seen you, that would have helped them to make a decision whether to cross or not. Would you like to have a
turning left?
Turning left, please, Tony. Would you like to have a look at the use of arm signals today?
Yeah, I'll have a go, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So, arm signals are to reinforce mechanical signal.
Oh, right.
So if we just wait here for the moment, there's no one behind us, what we're going to do is put your window all the way down. So to signal that we're turning left, we're going to check that mirror, first of all, make sure it's safe, check your door mirror. Right arm straight out, palm facing forwards, and rotate the same direction as the wheel, Tony, so the other way round.
Oh, dear.
That's it. Very good. That tells people going left. Left hand back on the back on the steering wheel.
Yes. Hard to do the
That's it. Yeah,
do
otherwise
both,
it makes it difficult. So hand back on the wheel in time to do the turn.
I think he's showing me sympathy, isn't he?
It's very good the way that you held back there, Tony.
I think he was very nice there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was very helpful, wasn't he?
Normally they whinge at you, don't they?
I do. I expect you to go around them even if it means going up the curb sometimes. That was good the way he suggested that you wait. Dealt with that well.
Could I have gone up on the curb with your instructions? If the road had been blocked?
We should never go up the curb, Tony, unless
Yeah, if the whole
signs
road's
indicate.
blocked though, and you instruct me to. If it was on my driving test and the whole road was blocked, but the examiner told me to...
The examiner would find another route, so the examiner would get you to turn
there was
around.
no other route there, was there?
We may have been able to reverse up to a turning.
Just out of road. The examiner would tell you to safely take a bit of curb, yeah?
Okay. I don't know.
It's got to be somewhere in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So back in there.
So can you think of any reason why we have arm signals, Tony? Because cars have indicators built in, don't they? So why might we need to use them?
Never see anybody use them.
No, most people don't. But can you think of any time when it might be helpful to someone?
No,
Have you ever been in a car or
that's second on the right.
second on the right, please, Tony? In a car or somewhere where the sun's been low and it's been very hard
Oh,
to
here's
see?
an arm signal there.
To turn right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do, Tony. Check your mirror first.
Yeah.
Right arm out, palm
Yeah.
forward, left hand on the steering
Oh,
wheel.
yeah.
Okay. Right arm back on the wheel before the turn. Okay, so we needed to put the signal on before the arm signal. Tony, sorry, that's my fault for not doing that. So it always comes after the car signal.
Just get the arm signal first.
Okay. Yeah, well done with those, Tony. We'll leave those for now.
Turn left just between the two shops.
Turn left just between the two shops, please, Tony. So when are we going to signal?
I'm going to delay it slightly in case he doesn't realise I can't go down there.
Very good. So just remember, what's the danger of signalling too early?
Well, my wife indicates really early sometimes.
Okay. And when she's doing that, is she driving quite fast?
She drives fast all the time.
Yeah. So when you're on a faster road and you're doing a higher speed, that distance is going to go very, very quickly, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we need to indicate earlier to give people more notice.
Turning right.
Turning right, please, Tony. Just put that right signal back on there.
Oh, I
Tony.
didn't even know it's gone
cancelled.
off.
So what happens when you put that signal on? What clues have you got that it's on?
It's up.
Okay, yeah, it's sticking up. Anything on your dashboard?
Oh, I've got a green arrow.
Yeah.
And turning left.
Turning left, Tony. Can you hear anything?
Oh yeah, yeah, clicking sound, yeah.
Yeah. So if you can't hear that clicking and the light's gone off,
Oh, so that was the low fuel warning.
well, you won't have to fill up anywhere near as often now, will you? You won't have to fill up every time you take a corner.
Yeah. And we're gonna, I'll turn it around here, right.
Okay.
So I did this on my own. How'd that do?
Did very well there, Tony. So you were identifying them all on your own at the end, weren't you? You were checking your mirrors,
Yeah,
you were
was it?
scanning.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gave me some very good answers when I was questioning on you on signals. And we even had a look at some arm signals. I think you did very well there, Tony.
Yeah, it took me a while to get the hang of checking the mirror.
Yeah, and then I gave you the reason why, which I could have given you earlier. So just remind me, what was the reason that we checked that centre mirror first?
Could be people very close behind me.
Yeah, and how would that affect you?
Very badly if I didn't know they were there.
Yeah.
I never thought of that before.
That's good. So you understand the reason for it.
Yeah,
That's important.
Yeah.
Well done. Very good lesson, Tony.
Yeah. How do you feel you've done?
I think I did fairly well. I
I
was a
couldn't-
little
I-
bit late with that mirror reasoning, but yeah,
That-
I thought it went alright.
I had a bit of a brain burp there. I couldn't remember whether you mentioned beckoning on the move or not.
I did in the briefing and I didn't bring it back up.
Oh, right.
Okay.
No, I could have played around with that then. I couldn't. I was coming down the road then, and I couldn't remember whether you'd mentioned it or not. I'm sorry.
That's alright. Yeah,
Um,
that's one thing I should have put in there. I had quite a good opportunity there as well.
Yeah,
actually.
if I had remembered you hadn't mentioned it, then I would have chucked the question at you, or I would have had a go at.
Yeah.
I could have done it when I was turning right with the woman and the child. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you see the importance of identification?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Working that really hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way you very proactive with the indicators. You watched my hand. You dealt with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You knew what I was going to do. I'm not going to pick my nose, am I?
Hopefully not.
Well, not getting nervous now. Any questions?
No, that went better than I thought it was going to actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, there's not a lot to the you're out teaching learners now. It's not a lot to the subject, is there?
No.
Can equal pedestrian crossing as yourself. Cover it.
Yeah.
The biggest problem is that most, not only PDIs but ADIs as well, when I'm sitting on standards checks, is unless they know the area, they don't spot them.
Mm.
But if they can't spot them, how the hell am I going to spot them?
Yeah,
Make sense?
definitely.
Well, I'll just get them paused.